Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're playing the game Timberborn, and this is an add-on video to the series that I've already started with this game. It's really a fun, relaxful game, and I like to challenge myself with it, and I like to make custom maps that are very challenging. And what I thought the other day is, like, I really want to make a very hard custom map that is not going to be that easy to play. And one of the things that you can do to make the gameplay easy is when you create water sources. I'm only going to put one water source. When you create water sources and then you've got to disperse them off the map, right? So you've got to, let me just make this smaller. You've got to make it so that the water comes off the map, because if it doesn't, it just will flood the whole zone. But by leaving this open, that doesn't leave a reservoir in this channel to hold water. So if I were to bring this up, I'm going to do it, to going up 2, right? That would hold at least 2 squares of water in that canal. So during droughts, I would have a extra buffer for gathering water, because I've got what's being held. And because I'm holding water higher in the terrain, I got more green area to work with. So what I want to do is I want to remove that advantage, or that, and make it so that the water just comes right out of it goes from this to right out, and I don't have many green at all to start my colony. So I've got one water source and I don't have a buffer. So what I'm going to do is I got to put the house down there, the main, what the heck's it called? It's the starting location. I'm just going to put it out here. I'm going to put it away from, I want to make this map a little hard. All right. Now, we have to start off with a food source. We have to start something, and it's always good to start with the berries, because it is really the only thing. I don't think they let you start with the oak trees anymore, or not the oak, but the walnut trees. No, they don't. So blueberries is primarily the #1 source of food that you're going to get, and I'm only going to make 3 squares of them. So, and really, these black squares, or these gray or brown ones, are going to be dead. These are the only live ones that I'm going to have for the map when I start. So I'm going to have to get into farming quick to feed. This is going to be slow going, because it's going to be very hard. So now I need to add a wood source. I'm gonna do oak, and I'm really going to go small. I mean, I think the smallest, I would eat through that quick, because what I need to be able to do is plant my own trees. And there's a tech tree that I need to get through to do that. So I need more than that. I need a little bit of trees for a buffer early on, because it's the time alone that it's going to take. Okay, so I'm going to just do that, because it's going to take some time for me to get to the tech tree where I can plant my own trees. All right, so now I got to do metal. Now, I'm going to go, because metal is an end game resource, so I can go crazy with that. I wanted to go very stingy on the beginning resources, just to see if I can even survive the beginning, first couple droughts, right? So I'm just going to, so this way I've got this, so I've got a bunch of that up there. So I've gotten all the resources you need to survive. I've got the water. I've got the berries here. Now, I think I am going to need to bring the water up at least 1 square, because I don't know if the pumps will work with the water being so low. I just thought of that. So what I can do to make it a little difficult, I'm going to go up, and I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to do 5. I'm going to do just here and here. Okay, so up to there, I've got an area that's going to hold water, and I need this to get the pumps to work. Now, I will be able to put a levee or a dam system in and collect the water myself past this, but I think I need to do that to at least have an area where I can pump water in the beginning. Okay, so we're good. This is going to be one of the toughest maps. I mean, it's plain, there's, it's open. There's no, I didn't put hills here. This is more about the scarce resources that I've created. And we're gonna call this, I'm gonna call it GZ for ground zero, and I'm gonna hit save, and I'm gonna hit exit the editor, and I'm gonna say yes. Now I'm gonna play the second faction. That's what I'm going to do is this faction, the industrial faction, because I'm getting a lot of that metal for the end game. So I think the industrial faction will be the way to go, and that will make it a harder game. So let's just find our custom map, which is going to be that GZ. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to just say normal because this is going to be hard enough. I don't want to go easy. I don't want to play the easy mode, but I definitely don't want to play the mode past normal because this map, I made it so that it'd be pretty brutal to survive the first few droughts. But if I can get past the first couple droughts, I think I'll be fine. So it's just prioritizing. We'll call this GZ, the actual game itself. If I prioritize what the beavers do, then I should be fine. And I've played this game a lot, so I think, and I think I can do it. I think you got to make your roads go to where you're going. So all your roads need to connect to your starting thing. And this here is a lumberjack. This is a lumberjack, what do they call it, flag. So the workers, 2 workers, I got 2 of them here. But I also have to map out the trees I want them to cut. I need them to cut them all. I'm going to need all that wood. All right. So we go back to the roads. We got to make a road out to the water source and the food source. So we'll go here. And we'll go up to here and go here down to here. So the food source is going to be berries. None of them are blooming yet, so I can't eat right off the bat. I'm going to do a water pump or deep water pump. That's what this faction has, is the deeper. Put one there and I'll put one there. You definitely got to have 2 water pumps going off the bat, just so you can start storing water. And then we're gonna have to start a farm. There's no doubt about it. That's the big thing's gonna be food. That's gonna be huge. So I'm gonna grab a farmhouse. Actually, I'm gonna extend this road. I'm gonna do this. It doesn't cost you any resources to put roads down. It doesn't. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to go back to the farmhouse, and I want to put the farmhouse on a spot where it's going to get the most coverage of the green area. And I'm going to need multiple. So for now, I'm just going to put 1 in. But I'm going to need to build multiple of them because they're not that efficient. So you need a few farms going. So this product here, the beavers can eat right off the bat. This product here, you got to process it before they can eat it. So right here, we're going to, and it's for this faction. The other faction has different food that they eat. So this one is what I'm going to make because this is the one that they can just eat right out of the fields. All right. So I'm going to speed this up to maximum speed and watch what happens. I've got 3 workers that are available. My total adult beavers is 8. My children are 4. They'll grow up to be adults. They'll go into the workforce, but the adults will eventually die of old age. So one of the things that we are going to need to do is put down a way for us to make more beavers, because eventually they'll all die of old age and the game would be over. So you've got to have a way, and that's what these breeding pods for the second faction are, is you put the breeding pods down. And it's the best, put the breeding pod close to the materials it needs to work. And what it needs to work to do the breeding is the blueberries and the water. So the two ingredients to make beavers is blueberries and water. So that's why I put the first breeding pod down here. And I just have to wait for the workers. Now I can go to the worker place and add 2 more workers, builders, to the building so that these things will build quicker. And I'm going to need to do storage next, water storage. And I don't have any tech points, so I can't get into the better storage barrels. So I'll make a small tank, and I'm going to put those right off of the actual pumps, so they'll fill. And for the storage, you actually have to tell it what you want in the storage. If you don't, there'll be a thing on top of it telling you that you got to do it. You got to tell it what you want to, how you want to use that storage. Okay, so the farm hasn't been made. We're waiting on that. They're working on the wood there. That's great. Getting some wood. Now let's get this farm made, because we're gonna run out of something they're not gonna be happy. Oh, right now they're not happy because they don't have a place to sleep. They don't have a house. But I want to get this farm. I need the farm, and I need the water storage before I need to put them in housing. Is this one not manned? This one, they're both manned. They both have things in it. It's okay, so it's just that the storage. I haven't stored any water yet. We're now on day 3. We've got 94 berries available for food. Okay, so the farm is now going. I've got at least 1 worker in there now. So we got those going. I'm going to drop the builders down to back to 2. So I only want 2 builders. That would send at least one of them to the farm. It did. So now I've got 2 workers at the farm. So now what we can do is build housing for them. And what I'm going to do is just build it here. And you have to run the road to the entrances. And everything needs to be connected to this building here. So it's all part of the same district. Without a road, nothing will work for you. So we need to have the roads. So we can prioritize the house. And actually, I'm going to prioritize building these storage. I'm going to say, look, make sure these water storage, because I don't want to get caught in the first drought and not have water stored up. Because like I said, I've gimped it so that there's no extra water. There's only 1 node pumping it. 1 water source pumping it. Now, those guys are doing well. Alright, so what do we got to do now? We got the water source there. That one's going, or the storage. Now we've got the pod running now. The breeding process is going. So like I said, it takes water and it takes berries to run one of these breeding pods. And what I've got to do is have to wait to drop more of these down until I've got these grown. Because I need the berries for the breeding process. So I can't have my beavers, eating the berries. I need them eating something else. I need them to stay away from the berries so that the breeding pods can always, because it's an over time thing. The breeding pod needs it constantly to keep the breeding process going. So once the process eats the 2 in the storage, we need more for the process to go. So we don't want to compete yet with throwing all our berries in breeding pods, because that will starve our beavers. All right, so let's go to storage now that we've put 2 more storage down. Tell it's going to be water, just so that I have enough water during the first drought. Yeah, I'm going to have plenty of trees to get what I need done, which is going to be nice. I think what I want to do is, right now I've got 3 beavers available for working. So why don't we move on to making planks? Because we're going to need the planks. And it's easier just to make this building near your wood source to begin with. It's got to be connected to the district, and it needs power. And for this, we need to make the power wheel, which I call the hamster wheel. That's got to get connected, and then that also needs a road to it. So really, for this to work, it needs 2 beavers, one running the power wheel and one running the lumber mill. Now the lumber mill needs 75 power to run. Now this little hamster wheel only does 50. So we're gonna have to put a second hamster wheel on it so that it will have max power. So now we just have to wait for that to get built. And I guess I can bump the builders back up so they get those things built. Oh, it looks like I've got some of these here. So now I've got to make storage for these. So we got to go to the storage and go to... now we can go with the small warehouse. I don't really like them. I like the medium warehouse. So I'll go right off the bat with the medium. What I'm going to do is put my food storage just like kind of in the middle of the colony, because this is where they'll have to go to get food. And it should be right here, this one icon right here. I click on that. So now this storage facility will hold that food coming out of these fields. And you'll notice that my beavers won't be able to keep on by themselves, they're just not efficient enough. So that's why you need like a second farmhouse to really work this small little field, because they can't clean it on their own. All right, so we've got housing. We got the 2 housing buildings. We've got 8 beds free. Just by those 2 buildings I built, I've got 8 beds that I can still fill. The planks aren't going yet, because what we're going to need to do is make planks, because there'll be things that we're going to need with those planks. But the other thing we're going to need to do is our science points need to get up there. So let's put the science building down. Now let's just put the science building over here. I'm gonna put that as a priority to build right now, because those science points are going to be really important, because we need to unlock the levee so that we can start locking in water. Because what's nice is the levees allow you to build, and then you can dump, you build structures, and then you can dump water in those structures. So that holds water for you. So it's more efficient than having it here. But it also, by doing it, causes the area around it to go green. So you've got more farmable land. So this faction doesn't have a water tower. So there's no water tower for this faction. So the people that have played this faction don't like it because there's no water tower, but you can create your own water towers by I'll show you how to do it. It shouldn't take that long to get there. So we'll see that before the end of this video. So you use these water pumps to pump water into them. So I have to unlock the water pump, and that's 250 science points. I have to also unlock the levees, which is 120 science points. So that means right now, for me to advance the map where I'm going to want more green land, I have to really be heavily on getting my science points. So I'll put another science building down. All right. So now I can reduce those builders back to 2 builders, so that at least these buildings should get, these people, so they got, okay, so I've got 2 guys in here. I'm going to have to prioritize this power, because that would be stupid to have 2 beavers in this building and there's no power to it. So at least we'll have 1 power source going in there. Just make sure I still have beavers over here at the farmland, and my water intake, yep. And then as you can see, my berries are not getting consumed as much, leaving room for me to expand our breeding process. So we'll just put another breeding pod right there. So that means I've got one adolescent in this breeding pod. So I'm only creating one to my population. And I've got 12 total adults. But they'll start dying of old age. So I've really got to really make sure I keep my population to a point where I can expand. I think I need a minimum of 6 of these. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 comfortably down at the beginning. Just as long as you're watching your food, you should be fine. I've got enough surplus of water for the droughts. And we need the population to grow. That's the that's where we're at right now, because I don't I don't have beavers to go into buildings, workforce buildings. Okay, so there's a drought coming in 2.9 days. We're going to have a drought. So it would not hurt to probably build a couple more storage things for the water just to get us through the drought. Just go water. You know, because what it is that wood source is a very limited source. Once I consume this, I'm dead in the water. So I have to have a way to make my own trees moving forward. And again, that's going to require science points. That requires 60 science points, and I've only got 21 right now. So just to open that up. And the other thing is the area that I put that in needs to be green for me to grow the trees. So it's just, and I guess I could do it I could probably do it in this patch of green, or I can create my own green. So, I mean, it all comes down to how many of these trees I'm going to feel I have, if I could build that levee system and move the water. So really, I'm desperate for population growth, and I'm desperate for science points. So I'm going to prioritize the science buildings, because that's really what I really need right now. So that emptied the lumber mill. All right, so then I'm not going to prioritize this then. I'll just leave that to normal priority. And then what else can I do here? So I've got the breeding pods going. So I got more than that going, but I still only got one child or one beaver. See, these farmers can't keep up on the growth. I mean, so to see that you've got things not being picked just indicates that you need more farmers, because the ideal thing is to have everything picked so something new can grow, and storage that you know, because this is just a waste of time, right? If these are just sitting in the field, I'd rather them sit in a storage facility, because the storage facility is empty. So what it is my beavers are almost consuming it as fast as I can either store it. But if I put more farmers down here, that wouldn't be the case. But I don't have the numbers to do that right now, because I'm still at only 12 adults in one child. So I've got to get these things going here. Okay, I should have a second child here in just a few seconds. So another child will be born. So that child number should go to 2. There it goes. So the child number goes to 2, but it eats into one of my bed slots. So the next thing I probably should put on the map is one more housing unit for them to. Now you can unlock the other housing units, but you need science points. You have to accumulate the science points to do it. And right now I've got 74 science points, so I could make the I could get the forester, and I guess I will put it over here for now, just so I can get some trees going. So I'll put it right here. And what I need to build this building are those planks. So this building requires 7 planks. Oh, I've got 13 planks, so I should be able to build it. That's what this is why you needed this building, was to make the planks. So right now, the forest building will get built, and I've got to tell it what trees I want them to make. And I'm going to make oak, because oak is the best for cutting. You know, it takes the longest to grow, but you get the most bang for your buck. And I found that it just seems to be an easier just to do it that way. You will need pine trees for other things, but for just raw, I need to build a bunch of stuff. The oak tree is going to be the easiest way to go. So there we go. Let's get the builders. Well, the builders are actually right now building these extra storage here, because you can see that the pumps, even during the drought, are still running, because there's still water in this hole, and it's going to go down. So for now, that gives me a buffer, because I get all this water during the drought. But what's going to happen is when I put more of these water pumps in, I will drain this hole quick, and my population will need the water just to survive. So it's going to be make it a little as my population starts to grow, it's definitely going to be a balancing act with the water, because that's such a small water source. So I did have one of my beavers die of old age, so that my population stayed at 12, even though one of the children went to adulthood. So my population is still 12. And my child number is only 1. And these, the breeding process takes a long time. But once these bars get to 100%, these breeding process bars, that's when you have a child born. And then you've got to wait the child duration. So it's not an instant added to your population. It's basically you got to wait to breed, get them born. And then you got to wait a few, I think it's almost like a week or maybe 2 weeks before they actually become adults. Oh, we got no builders? Oh, we do have builders. All right, so I still have a good sizable chunk of trees here. And considering the fact that I started this down here, and this will eventually get built, and I probably should put a water storage here so that my beavers have something to drink when they're on this side of the map without having to go to the other side of the map. So, because I mean, that's a long distance. Now, eventually what I'll do is I'll put a road. I should probably just build it now before I start putting trees in. All right. So I will definitely connect this road here with either a dam or a levee. I think or platform. Well, I'll eventually do that. But right now they got to run all the way around, and by the time they get around, they're just thirsty. So that's why I would like to put water on this end of it. All right, so the drought's over, and that's why we've got more green area on the map, because the water now is flowing. So we can actually extend the trees that are going to, it's just that oaks are okay. They'll survive a drought, so they'll start growing again once it goes green. So all this that I'm putting in here during a drought will just not grow. But eventually you'll be able to get them, because they won't die. I've not seen a drought so long where the trees die. I have seen droughts so long that the grapes will die, or the blueberries will die, but not trees. All right, so I think it's time to also build the farmhouse, and I'm going to do that next. I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to put another one on this side. So I've got a farmhouse here, I got a farmhouse here, and I got a farmhouse here, and that should be enough farmers to clear that field and be able to start packing up, putting them in the, because we're eating them. I think what we're doing is we're eating them as fast as we're storing them. And I think right now they're just getting stored in the farmhouses. Yeah, 25 or 50 in the farmhouses. So really, I'm not even filling the warehouse, because I think what it is I don't have any people carrying the food right now, because normally what happens is your builders, when they're not building, will move material for you, or you get haulers, because what's going to happen is when we get into the district management, you can build a hauling post where beavers will just go grab goods and move them from one location to another. So they would go and grab the food out of this farmhouse and they would put it into the storage where it's supposed to be. Same thing with the water. They'll pull the water from the water pumps and put them in the storage. So haulers are really good, but the builders will do that for you when they're not building. They'll do hauling for you. But because I've constantly been building structures, they haven't been doing any hauling. So my science points are now 2. Okay, so let's go to, we should be able to unlock the levee and say yes. And I think what we want to do is to stop the, actually, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. To stop the degrade on the wood, because the wood's going to be very important to us. So we might as well just do the process here to make sure this stays green. And I think what I want to do is put my tower, see, I'm making a water tower to hold water. Tell that to hold water. And then that's going to need stairs to get up. So I have to unlock the wooden stairs. And I put those, you want to put those like right there in the center, because the water pump's going to go up there. So what's going to happen is when I put the water pump, after this is built, these are built to hold water. I'll have the water pump just constantly pour water in this hole. Once it does that, it leaches as quickly in the ground as it does as it's getting filled. So all of this becomes green permanently as long as there's a water source filling this up. Now, what's also nice is now that I can build those, I can start making more channels for the water. And I can also just bring that up there and then put the dam portion on top of it. So the water flows. That's why I needed the levees. So the water flow will go through the crack here at the top of the dam. So levee, crack, and that allows me, when they build that, to connect this road. And it holds the water there in this area longer. It might not be enough passage. We'll have to see. This might not be enough passage for water. We'll see. It might not be a problem. All right, so now we're just waiting. Oh, we got to unlock the pump, the water pump. So that is going to be 250, which I don't have. I only have 75. All right, so where is my population? Okay, I've got 8 children. My population went down 1 for working adults. So another person died of old age. Another beaver died of old age. But I have 8 children that were born. And like I said, we just have to wait for them to mature and become part of the workforce. But at the same time, I've got another 6 more cooking. So we're just waiting for the population to grow. Because once the population grows, then we can just start quickly building. So this structure I need to prioritize. I need to get some trees being planted. So I just prioritized the workforce for the forester. Yeah. All right. I think we're doing really well. I mean, I thought this was going to be a lot harder than... I mean, I guess I could have gone smaller with this. Well, I'll know next time. Maybe only up to here, because that'd make more... it's just I've played this game so long that I kind of know what resources you got to get out there quickly. You got to start, quickly on. Food source, water source, then population growth. Making sure you got a tree source coming in, because you can't build anything without cutting the trees. And then you can't process anything into higher tier items without the trees. Science points are really important. So we'll wait until we get to what? We need 260, was it? 250. We need 250 science points. Once we have them, then we can actually reallocate these 2 workers to do something else. because I won't need science points for a little while. And I can, oh, my population went up. So I just got 2 more into the workforce, but I've got 5 empty unemployment. Yeah, I got 5 vacancies in jobs. So that's going to need to be resolved. So I need another 5 beavers to go into the adulthood so that I could just fill the jobs I currently have available. And that's got to be these farmhouses. Yeah, those 2 farmhouses, and it's got to be something else. Oh, probably the power wheel. Yep. Okay. But at least now we've got the mill running, and the mills basically only can hold 13 planks. So we're going to need to make a storage for that. So we'll go to large industrial pile because that's what you need for wood. And so I'm going to make 2 of them. One I'm going to store wood in, or the logs. And then the other one I'm going to store the planks in. Because now we're going to see me eat this up quick. Now that I have a storage for them. Because the reason why they weren't cutting them down is because they're at the maximum holding capacity. So these 2 lumber tents were holding the logs. But now when they build the storage, this storage facility can hold 180 logs. All right, so we're now up to 16 workers. I'm probably going to need, because you can see that I got 1 water barrel. It's going back up. I might need to make another water collector to keep up with the growing population, but we'll see. Because I usually watch these containers, and if they are empty more than they are full, that means I'm consuming more water than I am banking, basically, or storing. And then I have to create another water intake. I'll definitely start using a lot of water once I put my water pump in here. Because once that happens, I'm just constantly pulling water out of these things to dump it into the ground. I'm pulling water out to dump it into the ground. So that I'll definitely will have an issue then when that process starts. So right now, again, we're just waiting on science points and we're waiting on population increase. And then we can move on. And I think I'll survive the next drought without any issues. I mean, this actually has gone easier than I thought it was going to go. A lot easier. Come on. Well, you also can change how long they work for a day. So right now we got 16-hour work days. You'll be able to lower that. They'll make your beavers happy. Right now our well-being is only a 3. I mean, to unlock this faction we're playing, you have to have a well-being of the first faction of 15. So that means you've got to really get them happy. So right now it's only a 3, and it's a 3 because right now the only thing they do is eat, sleep, and work. So I don't have anything for them to make them happy. And I'm not prioritizing that right now because I'm trying to just prioritize survival. So I'm not concerned that it's bouncing between a 3 and a 4, the well-being. And if you click on that, it just tells you, basically some people are hungry, some people need more sleep, because you got 16-hour work days. And that's really it. So it's nothing that doesn't concern me. We've got 6 open beds, so that it's not like people are sleeping out in the dirt, or the beavers are sleeping out in the dirt like they were on day 1. All right, I need some beavers to become adults. Okay, I just had 1, 2 turn into adults. That leaves me with 2 vacant spots so now we should see more of the fields being emptied. Yeah, so we've got 4 total farmers going after the fields. So we should now also think about upgrading what we grow to the next tier So we'll go to crops, which will be this crop here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and make a small plot right here. So they will plant those. Now, for the beavers to eat these, I have to process them. And I have to process them through a fermentator. It's this process. It's right next to the farmhouse here. But it requires power. It requires 50 power to run. So I'm just going to put it here right next to the food source. I hate to use green land for buildings, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to have to put a power wheel behind it because it requires 50 points. So this only is going to require one power wheel because the processing is only going to cost 50. So you need to tell it what you want to process, and it's that field that we just planted. So when these get picked up here in this field, these will eventually get picked. They'll go into this. Then this will make them into a food source that they can eat. And that what it is, it also, they eat it slower. It fills them up better. So they don't eat as much of the other products that you have. So it's just a second tier food source. So right now our food is hurting because we're only in the 40. I mean, I'd be comfortable this was in the 500s. So right now we're at the point where we're going to be pulling out of these fields just to barely keep our population alive. So I'm going to need to get this, these picked quick. All right. Oh, we got one extra worker now. Okay, so we can add that. We can add that worker. I'm going to add 2 workers to the builders. I'm going to run out of beds here, so I will put the bed. They will auto prioritize building the shelters over anything else if you don't tell them. So by me putting this building here, the beavers will prioritize building it. It's just how the system defaults to. So if you want them building other things like this, they might not do it until the building's done. So now we have enough science points to put a water pump in. And that water pump just goes right here in this hole facing the stairs. So the beaver can go up. So what it is a beaver that works this. And they just run to the closest water source to come dump that water into this hole. And then what happens is the ground absorbs it. So as you can see, we're in the second drought phase, and most of this side of the map is brown. And when this gets operational, it won't be brown. It'll be green. It will stay green as long as I've got water, as long as I got a water source. And talking about water source, now is when we're going to need to put in another water pump. So when this water pump gets going, then we'll be bringing in more water. All right, so we're down up to 21 beavers. Okay, yeah, as you can see now, these fields are empty. Or not empty, but they're just growing again. They don't need to be picked. Because the problem is when you're not picking them, they're not regrowing. So it's nice to have it put into this warehouse. So the warehouse has 64 of them in there now. And as my population eats them, it will go down. Now the berries are looking like they're having an issue too, because we're using them for breeding, but my guys are eating them also. So this over here, this field here that I just planted, half of it's in drought. See it? It'll probably die, and I'll have to replant it. This here is the only that's going still, and they're at 74%. So I'm going to need them to build the fermentator, the processing facility. They'll have to do that soon because they're going to need to process that. Oh, I wonder, maybe the levees are priority over, because they keep them on building over here. Maybe they prioritize that over the housing. Because normally when I put the housing in, I mean, they haven't even built the storage facilities yet, right? I mean, that I put down a long time ago. Oh, I now have 4 builders working constantly. I've got 1 extra worker, and geez, I'm gonna need those workers for these 2 buildings here once they get built. Yeah, it looks like the levees, these levees, levees, they get priority because they seem to be building those first. Kind of makes sense. Now, again, anytime I could click on here and just prioritize it. I'm not there. I don't really need to do that. I've got plenty of trees still here, and I've got to have plenty of metal when I go to build my robots in the future, in my future videos. But I wanted to get, at least 2 droughts. So we're in day 17, really. And now now look, all of this is in drought. So these trees aren't growing right now, which is not a good thing because I kind of need the trees to be growing all the time, right? So that I have something to cut down eventually. And that also leaves me to having to put my woodcutters here too. But I don't want to put them down yet. I'll have to wait to do that because I don't want them to be just sitting there waiting. The trees aren't grown yet. But once the trees get grown, I will have to tell the tree cutters that I want them to cut everything in the green here. Okay, so the tree cutters will do that, but I just don't have any tree cutters in this area yet because I just don't want to waste my population having them sit. So they sit in their camps until a tree is grown because these trees are going to be at least a few more days. I mean, it takes, I think it says it takes 30 days. I might be wrong, or for one of these trees to get, I think it's 30 days. And we're only in day, and we just started this process. So yeah. But you get 8 logs per tree, which is crazy. All right, so yeah, this field had to be replanted because all that had died of drought. But we did get some that we harvested. So we probably should also do a storage for that. And we'll put it, we'll put it right here. Just put it right here next to the farmhouse. And it's going to be for, what's that? What was that? That's, it's this right here. Yeah. So now anything grown in this field will go to this warehouse. And then from this warehouse, it will go to the processing unit, which they haven't even started building yet. Why am I waiting for that to be built? I mean, I've got 4 builders. I've got 3 extra workers now. So I probably should anticipate food. So I'm going to have to prioritize. I'm going to have to do this. I thought they would get to this before now because I'm going to run out of food here because I'm at 6 now. I just barely got through my second drought. But if I can get them to build these, then I shouldn't have a problem with food because we've got 46 of those food, out of this field done. I probably should also build a pumping station here too to be able to expand this field. So I'm going to just do this. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to build all right. There we go. And then I'm going to have to put the stair on it in the center here, run the road to it, and then put a water pump in there. All right. So that basically making a water tower so that then this area will all be green and I'll be able to do a bunch of fields of this without, all right. I'll be able to do a bunch of fields of this without the drought affecting it. But it also means I'm going to have to start pulling in more water. So I've got this priority here, and I've got to get this power going, because this building's not working right now because I don't have any power. So it's not churning the food out. I'm starting to get more food now that these fields are now got to their harvesting stage. So the food is going up. So I just timed that well, I guess. The tree guy, he's planting all these trees. He's got a lot of trees there. And yeah, this roadway is connected now. All right, looking good, looking good. All right, so I should put something in to make these guys happy. So let's go to well-being, and the first thing is going to be the campfire pit. I think what I want to do is put them over here. I'm just going to put them here near the starter. Got to put a road. Give them a couple here. Got to put a road down the center so they'll be part of the district. This can go here. This can connect there. All right. So that will bring up the happiness level when they build these campfire locations. It gives them a place to socialize at right before the day ends. So I've got a few buildings that I've got that are going. All right. How many planks do I have? I have 65 planks. I'm not hurting for planks. All right, looks like I now got this operational. Oh, it's nighttime. That's why there's no power going to that. All right, got 100 food, 168 water. So let's see. I think the next water storage that we need is going to require the gears, and I really want to get into that. So that'd be under wood, and then we have to unlock the gear workshop, and I think the gear workshop requires a lot of power too. So let's get that put in. I think it requires 120 power, so it'd be like 3 of these power wheels. There's 2. And that's going to be 3. And you're probably asking yourself, how do I connect those? It's these little guys here, power shaft. I always just like to use the this one here because it allows you to connect it any direction. It requires more logs to make them, but it's just the easiest way of going. So now these power wheels are connected to this gear factory, but I need to put a road in so that they can get to the wheels. So now this will produce those gears, but I believe part of the process, the gear process, it uses the planks. So I'm going to need, making sure that I have a surplus of planks, I'm going to need to make at least one more lumber mill. And that means I've got to put more power on that. Later on, we'll be able to make these industrial, I didn't mean to put it there, industrial engines that will run all our stuff. That's this here, engine. So the engine produces 400 power, but I can't make that yet. But eventually I'll be able to make it. So I won't have to worry about these little hamster wheels powering my stuff anymore, because I will be able to do it with the engine. And the hamster wheels just seem to be the easiest way to power. I don't have enough water source to run because the other power options I've got is the water wheels. And I just didn't put enough water source on this map for water wheels to even be able to be considered. Because this trench would need to have been wider. And yeah, it's just not an option. All right, so as you can see here, see how this is all green now? It's because this dump system is just dumping water in this hole. So the beaver that's working here is just grabbing water and dumping it in this hole. And then what's happening is the water just leaches into the ground. So as long as I've got water stored, I won't run. That will not go. That will always remain green. And it's going to, same thing is going to happen here. Is this area is always going to remain green. So this is the situation we're in. I went through 2 droughts. I am pretty much golden. I don't see me having anyone die of thirst or starvation anytime soon. That's not going to happen. I've pretty much, if I'm entering a new, a new technology era with this, because what's going to happen is now I'm going to be able to buy into the next tier of items I need to get to the engine and get to the other well-being buildings. So that's going to be like tech tier 2, because this is basically what I've done here is just the tech tier 1 stuff. But as you can see, this is going very well, and I'm on cycle 3, day 9. So I think that means 3 weeks, day 9. You think I would know that. But I mean, it's been a couple droughts that we've gone through, and we definitely are looking pretty good. Once I get the gears going, I'll be able to unlock. I think I can unlock. Yeah, I can unlock this now. So this is a bigger. So I can put them on the map even though I don't have the components to do it. It's a bigger holding area for water. So I want to put that a little bit more central, at least the first one I'm going to put in. Maybe I'll put it here. Yeah, I'm going to put it here. So I'll put one there. I'll put one next to the food source. I'll put one down here. All right. So all those require planks and gears. And what's nice is I can put them down on the map anyway, and when those components become available, my beavers will just build them. So the planks are going to get eaten up quick right now. They're going to get devoured because they can do the plank portion of it. And each one of these take 30 planks. So each one of these water things take 30 planks. And I've got to tell it I want to put water in those. You know, once these get established, once you start just banking the water, then that means when you're running these water towers that I've created, that means it's always, your grounds always remain green, and that means you always can produce food. You can always produce the logs you need to keep your civilization going. So it's, so you're making your own green land, and once you've done that, so now look at that. That is now all green, and that will remain that as long as I've got water. So now what I can do is I now, just to keep up with my food, I'm going to put a farm there, and I'm going to put a farm there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to crops, and I'm going to make more of those crops. And I kind of like to make my fields small enough where I can just put a road around them so that my beaver, because my beavers are going to stay on the roads, They're going to use the roads to get to where they want to go. And then what I should build is another processing, and then another power wheel to keep that going, so that when my population gets up there, I'll be able to produce. So right now I'm at 75 food, and I've used up all of the base materials that were in this field already. So I've got nothing to cook. I got nothing to run in this building. So right now I'm relying on this food source and the berries, because I haven't gotten enough going on here. But once these farmers get into their buildings, then this field will start getting gobbled up by them, and then I'll have enough to run through the processing food, and then I'll have enough food. That shouldn't be a problem, because then eventually what you want to do is, once you get into the wheat or the corn, once you get into the corn, it won't hurt for me to plant the corn now. I'll just plant a small field of it. But what you need for the corn is you need to build this food factory, and the food factory requires metal plates. So you're not building that anytime soon, because what we got to do is we got to build, not only do we have to scavenge for metal, we've got to build the smelter, and then we've got to build the power sources to make the smelter. I mean, that's a whole process. But it don't hurt to put the corn in the hopper for now, to be able to cook it up later. We've got the extra water thing pulling in water. I've got 9 available beavers to work for me. So it won't probably hurt right now to make a hauler shack. Let's just do that. That'll be the last thing we do. I'll make a hauler shack. Mostly, I'm going to try to put the hauler shack in the middle of the map, because I'm going to mostly go where things need to be moved. And we'll they're going to build that as a, because that's it should be easy for them to build, unless they're building this up here first. No, they haven't even touched those 2 buildings. So the hauler shack. And what's also nice is once you got people hauling the materials, it just frees up a lot of items to, it just, things just start getting stored smoothly. Things get built quicker. Oh, I have 4 homeless people, or 4 homeless beavers, so I got to build more housing. They used to prioritize those. Maybe they changed the game. Usually, when I always put housing down, it was like everything. They all stopped what they were doing and did the housing. Hauler shack. They started it. I don't know what they're thinking about. Oh, they're thinking about building other things. All right. Well, I think this is a good stopping spot. I said I was going to do two droughts. It happened. We did the 2 droughts. Where cycle 3, day 14. So I'm thinking that's 3rd week, or maybe the 3rd month. Maybe that's how they do it. Maybe I don't think that. Okay. Yeah, they don't really tell me what that means, but it's been, we've been playing now, probably going on 45 minutes to an hour. So I think I'm going to call it time now, and we'll continue this later. I'll save the game right now, and we'll come look at this at another point. And I want to thank you for joining me. And this has been the Tarkus Zone.